Today, I want to share something that people ask me all the time. How do I use my intuition every single day? It's not just in those big spiritual moments or life decisions, it's in the tiny, ordinary decisions that make up a life. Hello, everyone. I'm Emily Snyder from Connected Intuition. I'm a psychic medium and a teacher of all things intuition and spiritual development. Intuition is not just for intuitive readings or psychic readings or huge signs or big crossroads. It's literally woven into every single thing that I do. I obviously have my own thoughts and feelings, but checking in internally with my own intuition sets the tone for my entire day because I'm starting from a place of really listening first. So, how do I start my day with my intuition? I start by sitting in the power. I gently expand my energy outward into the universe and into the spirit world. And I kind of let myself settle into that connection of my energy and their energy. Some mornings I simply hold that space in silence and I sit, just to feel that power, that presence, and that quiet hum of something that's bigger than myself. And I will tell you something that no one talks about. It becomes addicting in the best of ways. That feeling of connection fills me up so deeply, it never ever feels like a chore. Well, actually, that's a lie. Some mornings when we're supposed to be at the dentist in 5 minutes and we can't find our shoes, that is when it actually does feel like a chore. So I do give myself permission to be human on those days. Some days I do ask simple questions like, I'm really stuck. What guidance do I need with my family right now? And I will tell you, I use that frequently around the holidays. When that guidance does come through, though, it is different every single time. Sometimes it talks about grounding, sometimes it talks about creativity, and sometimes it's clearly just a message to rest and let things go. Sitting in the power is how I anchor myself before the world pulls me off my axis. The second thing I want to talk about is using my intuition with food. Now, I know this example is not going to work for people who have a much more complicated relationship with food. If you suffer from an eating disorder or something along those lines, this is not the best example for you, and I'll give you a secondary one as we work through. For me, however, the past 5 years have been especially tricky with food. Everyday things like tea, yogurt, strawberries, chocolate, they all could trigger a migraine. Like many chronic illnesses, the migraines were unpredictable. A food that would bother me on Tuesday would not bother me on Wednesday. And I felt like I was in the middle of headache roulette. And I felt completely powerless and overwhelmed. And as some of you may know, headaches are also influenced by a whole host of factors like sleep and weather and stress and some stuff you can't even see. So during those early days, I really struggled. And what I learned was to check in with my body at first. What feels right to eat today? What would make my body happy? What will make my body feel at its best? I'd ask most of the time, and my body would give me an answer. Today's a really good day. You can try some things, or today does not feel so good. Put the brakes on. And yes, when I ignored those nudges, the headaches usually did follow. And I will say I wasn't perfect about it because sometimes a girl just wants a cup of tea and a piece of chocolate. So I am human. I know that example may be complicated for some. So here's another example that I now use now that my migraines are a little bit more under control. If I wake up exhausted or have trouble sleeping the night before, or my kids are up, something like that, I will ask my body what it needs. I will acknowledge how it is currently feeling and tell it that it's doing a great job, even on the hardest days. Literally talking to my body like it's my best friend. From there, I then can get feedback about how to proceed. Your body is often one of the first places that your intuition speaks. And when you listen, it can become one of your best guides. Let's talk about my work. So, before I open my laptop every morning, I pause and ask myself, what kind of a day is it? Is today a creative day where all the ideas are just going to flow and I want to go paint or knit or see color? Or is it a stay in the pajama pants day and tackle admin tasks and email and all that sort of thing? Or is it a grounding day where I really need to go outside for a long walk and some fresh air? Checking in with what my intuition actually wants me to do makes me twice as productive as forcing myself through the tasks that I don't want to do. Now, I just want you to think about a time, the last time you filled out paperwork on a day you didn't want to, and how did that go? Now, think about a day when the sun was shining and your walk to work sparked some ideas that helped you move a project forward. Now, that's the difference I'm talking about, fighting it versus working with it. I now start my day with one simple question: what should I focus on today? And then I wait. And I notice what rises in my body. I notice what words are being said to me. And I pay attention where my body lights up, where the clarity lands, what words and sensations and images I'm given. Letting my intuition guide my focus, though, has helped my work feel more aligned and more spacious and honestly more joyful. When you let your intuition set the tone for the day, you stop fighting yourself and start flowing with your work and with yourself. When I'm thinking about working on something much bigger, like a new class, a launch of something, or creative idea, I go a bit deeper. I find a quiet place, I find a quiet moment, but most importantly, I find a quiet mind for myself. And then I invite my spirit guides to step forward and I hand them the project or the question or the goal of what I'm asking. Sometimes I'll actually walk them through what I'm thinking and I kind of pay close attention to the feedback or the feeling that I'm getting as I say certain words. And for me, it's usually a feeling in my body, sometimes a single clairaudient word, but every single person receives guidance differently. Now, you may be saying, but spirit guides are not your intuition. And the thing I will say is guidance. Go with the flow and allow it to come from wherever. Is it important for you to know which spirit guides are which? Not necessarily. Is it important for you to know exactly that it's your intuition versus a spirit guide? No. Let's just go with the flow of the guidance. Whatever comes through, I sit with it and I let it breathe for a few days. I revisit that guidance until it feels like it's settling into true clarity for myself. And this is where the magic happens, letting that settling happen so that it kind of turns itself into a truth. One of the most significant downloads I ever received from Spirit came pretty early on in my journey. I kept hearing that I needed to leave my full time corporate job. And I would just, it terrified me. I kept saying, that's great, but you're going to have to show me the way. A few weeks later, I heard clear as day, you have to do animal readings and post them on TikTok. Now, I had never been on TikTok and never done an animal reading, and I've told this story in the My Story video. When you let your guides in on your creative process, they don't just give you the answers, but they help to give you the direction that you would have never found on your own. There's one big difference to how I used to use my intuition in the beginning and how I use my intuition now. In the beginning, I waited for spirit to drop guidance into my lap. I would hear a single word or get a feeling or like a vague nudge, but I had no idea what to do with it. I was just starting out and I kept hearing the word training. That was it. No context, no explanation. Eventually, yes, I led myself with those breadcrumbs to a Google search and then to Arthur Finley in my time there. But it wasn't that I had a conversation with my intuition. It was more like I was catching random messages as they came through and hoping that I had interpreted them correctly. Now, if that was happening today, if I kept hearing a single word, I would approach it completely different. I would ask my intuition, what do you mean? What does training mean? And what do I need to do about it? Do I need to find a new teacher? Is this self guided? Do I need to go to a certain class? And just keep asking follow up questions until I understood what the guidance meant for me. That's when intuition becomes a conversation, a back and forth, a relationship with a bigger intelligence behind it. I don't always need to sit now fully in the power to access that anymore. Sometimes all it takes is a breath and a quiet moment, but I will say that curiosity has helped me get there. Intuition is not a one-way broadcast. It's a dialogue. The more you talk back, the clearer the guidance becomes. There's something I want to name because it does not get talked about enough. Letting your intuition lead can feel scary. If you're one of those people who likes to plan, predict, and manage and control the outcome, hello, my job title used to be planner, this can feel like a scary exercise. When you first start allowing guidance to come through, Rather than feeling like you're gripping that steering wheel, it can feel like you're stepping into the unknown. And honestly, you are stepping into the unknown, but it's almost as if the spirit world, your intuition, your guides are holding you in a bird's nest and giving you that information in a supported, deeply aligned way. What helped me soften into it were some simple kind of mantras that I repeated to myself every day. Things like, I am enough. I can allow. I freely accept this guidance. I don't have to control everything to feel safe. And the support is already here for me. Over time, these mantras rewired a part of me that believed that intuition meant losing control. Intuition is not about surrendering power, it's about partnering with it. A lot of people worry that when they follow their intuition, they're giving up on their own free will. But intuition doesn't override your choices, it actually informs them. I like to use the driving metaphor again. So if you think about your free will as the steering wheel, and you think about your own hands as your choices, and you think about your intuition as the GPS, you can ignore the GPS. You can 100% take a different route. You can also turn it off completely. You can also not know that it's actually on and leading you around. For me, though, when I would allow the GPS to guide my life, I felt more aligned, more grounded, more guided in truth rather than fear. For me, as a result, I feel it in my body. I'm less anxious, I'm more resilient, and ironically, I'm more flexible in my decisions. It helps you choose from clarity instead of from confusion, and that connection reduces the anxiety. The more you practice, the more natural the two things will work together. Your inner guidance plus your own inner free will feels like a life that's truly aligned. Free will drives the car, but your intuition simply helps you choose the road that leads home. So that's how I use my intuition every single day through my body and my guides and my work choices and those sitting in the power moments. I want you to have that same connection. And remember something, you do not have to be a medium, you do not have to be gifted, and you don't have to wait for those lightning bolt moments. Your intuition is already inside of you and it's speaking. You just have to learn how to tune in and listen. If this resonated with you and your body lit up as I was talking, I've got an upcoming class called Living an Intuitive Life, which starts on the 29th of January. The whole focus of this class is to use your intuition on a daily basis. I'm Emily Snyder of Connected Intuition. As always, stay open, stay curious, stay connected with Connected Intuition, and I'll see you in my next video. Thanks.